Good morning to our meeting today. We have meeting of the salary board as well as the board of commissioners. We're doing some things today, but we'll explain those as we go along. Today's January 5 of 2023. We're at hour 9:30 has arrived. We are going to be beginning with the salary board meeting. So we'll call that to order. Start with a roll call of members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Fauci. I'm here. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Controller Whitcomb.
Here. Okay, thank you. At this point, we have public comment for any issues to come before the salary board. So okay, same assumption. One item 4 on the salary board agenda, and that is the approval of minutes from our previous meeting of January 3rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 3rd.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We also have then on item 5, we have the salary board actions that previously discussed.
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions as.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 6, other business. Is there anything additional to come before salary board? None. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Stand adjourned. Thank you. We'll move into the board of commissioners meeting. We open the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order and begin with roll call members present.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Fauci. I'm here. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Okay. All right, we'll move into item 3, which is the public comment period. This is where the change starts. So I'm going to make sure I read this verbatim to make sure it comes off correctly. Because we're moving to a consent agenda, the public comment will now be handled in the following manner. Anybody who wishes to make comments on any agenda item, for those folks, it's appropriate to do that when the item is considered by the Board of Commissioners. Otherwise, the public comment section of the agenda is open for members of the public to provide comment on any matter not listed on the agenda, and that would be now. So there's nobody online. Okay, so we don't get to test that one out. Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda, and the practice will be this will be handed off to the chief clerk, and we'll take care of that now.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. So as everybody, to make everyone aware, the consent agenda, which is agenda item number 4, is a list of routine items today that is items A through M that appear to be non-controversial in nature. They are routine items and do not require, we believe, any additional discussion. If anyone, whether that be a member of the audience or commissioners, are interested in discussion on a particular item, all you need to do is indicate that you would like the item removed from the consent agenda, and that item will be considered separately under the regular agenda. The remaining items will be acted upon through one motion. So is there anybody interested in moving any of the consent agenda items from the consent agenda?
I'm going to request that item 5 of section D of item D rather be removed to the regular agenda.
What was that again? Item 5 of
C5.
C5. Thank you.
Any other items need to be removed? I would request a motion then for the remaining consent agenda items.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed with the exception of item D, item 5.
I second that motion.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
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 That moves us to B. You want me to continue with the motions or?
Well, I guess the question now is, because that should be A through M, with the exception of
So it's
D5.
all
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
so you handle now item
D5.
D5.
So Commissioners, item D5 that has been removed from the consent agenda are the recovery grant program contracts for the listed grantees. What that means is that each of those grantees has signed the contract. They have created their performance measures and they have agreed to the reporting process that will be in place to monitor their completion of the grant project that had received an award. Any questions?
No.
Okay, so we'll call for the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
This is for the approval. They were voting on the approval of those.
Great. Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, maybe we do need to make a motion, don't
Okay,
we?
so we do. A motion for the approval of item 5, D5.
And just before I frame this motion, Keith, what I'm really doing, these are really contracts that we're
Correct.
approving.
They're all contracts.
Okay, so I should state that in the motion. Okay, I'm gonna move to approve the recovery grant program contracts as set forth on the agenda at item D5.
Second.
Okay, it's moved in second. Now we can vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please record me as a no.
Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you for everyone for bearing with us as we make our way through the consent agenda process over the coming weeks. So that takes us then to agenda item number 5, which is the regular agenda items. And we'll start with A, which is discussion and approval of new contracts, vendor services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. And we'll start with Aging and Community Services, and I'll call in Kim Whitten. Hi, Kim.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. The 13 addendums are an increased hourly rate for agencies who provide personal care and home support to eligible consumers in the options program. And then Blessed Hearts Home Care Agency is a new agency that will provide the same services, personal care and home support for consumers in the options program. Any questions?
Thanks, Kim.
So the solicitor, do we go item by item or through all of the contracts and then motion?
Go through all of them and do a motion.
Okay.
Is there a single motion for section 5?
No,
So
so
they
this
are-
is the regular agenda.
The regular agenda is
Go
still
through
on
them,
consecutive.
we always have them.
Very good. Okay, so we have, so there's no additional question. Do we have a motion? Thank you.
I'm sorry, did we just say that we would do one motion?
You can do one motion
For
for
A.
all items under A1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I misunderstood that.
No, I did too.
Okay.
Okay. Again, thank you everyone for your patience. So we'll do A1 and then we'll do A in motion and then A2 in motion and then A3 in motion.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve items listed under aging and community services. Under regular agenda, item 5A.
Yes.
A1.
I1,
5A1. Thank you.
Okay, I will second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Are there any further questions? We'll call it. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Jamie Ryder is with us to discuss contracts for children and youth. Jamie?
Good morning and happy new year, everyone. The first contract I have is an addendum to Families United Network. We are adding a transportation service to that contract. Transportation is a barrier and a huge need for us. So any of our programs that are willing to help us out with that, we are offering additional compensation. And we are using the same formula that our other providers that provide the transportation services. We're using that across the board for them. The second contract is Chore Youth and Family Services. In 21-22, Chore merged with Affinity for Forensic Services and Edison Court and formed Chore Youth and Family Services. With that merge, they now provide just about every level of care, including drug and alcohol residential programs, specialized sexual offender programs, group homes, and foster care. We didn't previously have a contract with Chore, so in this merge, we also gained 8 levels of foster care to utilize, as well as a residential program. So the programs that we had previously contracted with are requesting increases from 4.31% to 11.5%. And their justification for those increases is rising operating costs, increases to salary and benefits to encourage staff retention and recruitment, facility upgrades to ensure safety, updating their technology, and program enhancements, which allow additional supports and training to both staff and the youth that they serve. The last contract is York County Youth Development Center. This is a youth shelter, which are very much in demand, and we have very few available options. They are requesting a significant increase of 53.49%, going from $375.60 a day to $576.50 a day. We do want to grant their increase, however, based on the need that we have to have shelters available, but also due to the fact that we don't typically end up getting to put a kid there because they are in York County and they do service York County as a priority over other counties. And their justification for their increase is due to the ever rising operating costs, as well as the fact that we started contracting with them in 2013-14 fiscal year, and they have not increased their rates since that time. Any questions?
Commissioners, I would ask for a motion.
I will move to approve on the regular agenda, the contracts and grants set forth. Item 5A2.
For a second.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have here with us Melissa Cavanelli to talk about the continuation contract for court administration.
Yes, this is the Westlaw legal research contract that court administration actually pays and manages for the entire county users, including district attorney's office, public defender's office, the solicitor's office, whole list of other people. We had a previous 5-year contract at a 1% increase per year. They don't do 5-year anymore, and 1% is unheard of. So the new contract is for 3 years with a 4% increase per year, which is still lower than inflation. So I'm going with it.
Except in the out years, it may not be.
Well, no, it's 4% for 3 years. So we're locked in.
Right.
Yeah, after,
The escalator is 4% each year for each 4 years.
and then after
Despite the
that,
fact that inflation could be 2%, 1%.
right.
8%.
This is what they offer though. If we went with a 1-year contract, I believe the rate was like 11% or something. So it was some crazy amount. I was like, no, let's just go with this. So locking in for 3 years at least guarantees us a set budgeted. Yeah, it's only for 3 years. They don't do 5 anymore.
Right.
So
So that was the 3 years. And
Yep.
that's the only option,
3 was the max option we could get.
max option.
They would not go beyond 3 years because I asked about 5 years. I said, can we do 5?
Did
And
we
they said,
contemplate a 2-year ask, knowing that inflation is highly variable?
I don't think that's in the, we usually go for the longer ones to lock in the rates because their rates go up no matter what. Let me see if they have a rate for. Oh, I lied. If you do 12 months, it's a 7% increase every year. So 2 years, trying to see if they have a 2-year note here. They do not. They only discuss 12-month renewal, and that is if you do 12 months, it's 7% for the first year.
As opposed to 4%. Okay. All right. That's all.
We have found generally that locking in the rate tends to be in our favor in the long run over the course of years. But again, yeah, inflation varies.
Economic conditions have changed, so I understand.
We got lucky with the 1%. I don't know what
Oh, yeah.
the person was on that signed that contract for them 5 years ago, or, 5 years ago, but it was incredible, never to be seen again, probably offer. So
Any other questions for Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa, when does the current contract end?
it actually already ended. As soon as we finished that, they're still charging us the old rate though. There will be a bridge addendum coming. There was finance had some issues with the way some things were worded regarding the bridge addendum. So we're just working that out with Westlaw, but we're still paying the old rate with the old contract. For now, this starts February 1.
The expiration, we went up 1%.
It hasn't raised at all.
Not raised at all, so we're not paying the old
We're
rate.
paying what we were paying the last year. Yes, the last year of the contract, that same amount for probably an additional 3 to 4 months. To be honest, they lost our contract and didn't reach out to us, and the contract expired. And we reached out to them and said, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, you didn't have a account manager, and it fell through the cracks. So they are giving us the old rate until the new contract is signed. But finance has requested a bridge addendum for that, just so we have something on record for that amount. And we're working on that with Westlaw right now, or with Thompson Writers.
Any additional questions?
So the savings or the decrease is just because it's a shorter term.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually per month and per year, it's an increase, but that's why I made sure to put in the note that it's going from 5 years to 3 years. So it's not a true decrease.
Right.
But that's not really easy to explain on the one-page forms.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to continue the contract with Thomas Writers as presented in regular agenda. Item A3.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Eric Ranovich is with us to discuss a continuation for the forensics lab. Eric?
He is not on the Zoom call.
Okay.
It's up to the board whether they want to take action. This is a continuation of an existing sole source contract, which is necessary for the operation.
We move it on the agenda. Can we do that and try to contact Mr. Ranovich? We've had this discussion before, setting a precedent of approving contracts without the opportunity for the commissioner questioning. It's not a good precedent to set. Do we have to take a formal action to move that, or we just come back?
No, you can make that decision, Gary's chair.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's come back to that. And can somebody send Eric a note and just ask him if he's prepared to address this with us today? Or he can send somebody else. Okay, so 5A4 is pending. That's back to Stacy.
Okay. We also have Andy Benner here to discuss the juvenile probation contract. Andy?
Good morning, Commissioners. Just seeking approval to enter into a new contract with Timothy Seeger, who is a psychologist, perform psychological services for us. The amount of the contract, based on a per diem basis, is the $9,550 will be the max amount. And just, so you do know, we typically do seek insurance reimbursement initially when we get these services. These are for services when youth cannot get coverage or the insurance doesn't cover, there's some additional costs that we pay them. So he's one of another 3 or 4 other people, but obviously it's tough to get these services in place for our youth, and we build as many options as we can. So
Any questions?
any questions for
Andy?
Thank you.
Okay, so that requires action. So do we have a motion?
I will move to approve the juvenile probation contract for Timothy S. Zeiger as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks.
Okay, we now have Claudia Garner to discuss public safety contracts and grants. Hi, Claudia.
Good morning, everybody. The first thing we have is the Emergency Management Performance Grant in the amount of $114,395. That has a performance period of October 1, 21 through September 30, 22. That covers up to 50% of 2 of our staff salary and benefits. And the second item on the agenda is the priority dispatch agreement. We're requesting your approval for this 1-year agreement with Priority Dispatch in the amount of $72,000. This is for the maintenance of the emergency dispatch protocols used by our 911 staff when taking calls from the public for help. It's a comprehensive package, which you'll see on the documentation. There is an increase from last year. And that's explained because this is comprehensive. It includes the license fee and maintenance for all 3 of our dispatch protocols. As you might remember, 2 years ago, we implemented our 2 additional protocols for fire and police phone calls. So it now includes those 2 protocols as well as the backup card sets. And it will also include our quality assurance software maintenance, an annual subscription for online college for our staff Con Ed opportunities, and it also includes the technical support. When we purchased the 2 additional protocols 2 years ago, it included the first 2 years of maintenance. So we didn't have to renew those agreements until now. So we're up for this one with the 2 additional. So we included our EMD as well. So now it's all 3 protocols and all the other items that I outlined.
Any
Any
questions for
questions?
Claudia? I do have a question, Claudia, on the EMPG.
Yes,
I believe that the grant term is actually through 1/29 of 2023.
that's the grant term, but the period of
Yes.
performance is 21 to 22.
Okay, so I just want to make note of that, that our question on the form is the grant term, not the performance term. And so the grant term is actually through 1/29 of 2023.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Claudia?
So we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the grant amendment of $114,395 FEMA emergency grant, FEMA emergency management performance, as noted in agenda item 5A6.
I second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any further questions? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, our last contract
I need
is,
to make another motion. Need to make a motion to approve the continuation of the priority dispatch as noted in agenda item 5A6 as well.
I second that motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
thank you, I apologize for that. We'll move on then to our last contract, which is for the prison, and Warden Cheng is here to discuss with us.
Good morning, Commissioners.
The prison is asking for approval of this addendum to agreement for medical services with occupational health centers, better known as Concentra. Concentra provides all our staff vaccinations and drug screens for new employees. The term of this addendum amendment is for 1 year at a cost of $26,087.25. This is a decrease of $14,629.75. I would like to explain further that that decrease now is because it's going from a countywide contract to a departmental contract, and your 26,000 is a projected amount off of our turnover rate from last year. If there's any other questions.
We'll entertain a motion then.
I will move to approve the contract for the prison set forth on the regular agenda at item 5A7. And this is a contract with occupational health centers in an addendum.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
It's moved in second. I just want to wait and see if your motion passes. I
apologize. Seems to be the norm here. I'll apologize.
That's fine. All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. There you go.
Okay, that takes us then to item B, which is discussion and approval regarding DCED $30,000 grant to update the county's comprehensive plan and to also discuss signatories for documents. We've got Kirk Stoner online to discuss. Hi, Kirk.
Sure. Good morning, commissioners. As you're aware, we received a $30,000 grant from DCD to update our comprehensive plan. They're starting to submit our contract documents and all the administration that needs to be done before execution of the contract. So we need to identify 2 persons to authorize and execute all contract documents. They've also attached a worker protection form that needs to be signed in return. So looking for identification of those 2 persons. I'm listed as the point of contact on the grant. So if I'm able to be listed as one of those persons, that may be a good move so that we keep things moving. We'll need another one, defer to Stacy or the board of who they would like that other person to be.
Any questions?
And we're okay addressing both these items.
You have to name a second person if you
Right.
take action.
Right.
So
Who typically is named as a second.
he's deferring to you.
Yes. he's-
Kirk, who would you recommend?
I'm
Who do you
I'm
recommend
asking-
as the
I'm
second
asking our
person?
solicitor.
Right now, I don't know who I'm listed as the point of contact. There is no second
Yeah.
person. So it's up for grabs.
There's a guy standing out in the street corner. Should we run out and see if he's interested?
Let's get
Who
in.
else
Yeah.
wants it?
Solicitor, the reason I asked you the question is and I'm not trying to like nominate
I don't
you,
want to-
but I know that often with advertising, it's Kirk and yourself. Is there somebody from your department that you believe? I mean, I'm more than happy to serve in that role. If the board so desired, but if there's somebody else, Kirk, that you would recommend?
It could be somebody in my department. I'm impatient, so I like to get things done fast, but I don't want to overstep our bounds if protocol is one of the board members or, you, Stacy, or someone else to do it.
Why don't you make us a recommendation, Kirk?
Okay, how about Steph?
Procedure on this? Sorry, Kirk. Do we have a policy or procedure on
I
this?
don't think we do. This doesn't come up very often where we have requests for signatories.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with it, I'd recommend a member of my staff. I'd recommend it's Stephanie Williams. She's here. She can do it quickly and get things turned around.
Okay. So that's your recommendation. That requires a motion for the board to take action.
Right. I'll make a motion that we authorize Kirk Stoner and Stephanie Williams to execute all grant contract documents in relation to the $30,000 DCED grant for Cumberland County to update the county's comprehensive plan.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it's moved in second. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the second bullet, who would authorize the execution of that?
You would authorize the execution and it would be done by Kirk as the department head.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Kirk Stoner to execute the worker protection form.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's moved in second. There's no further questions. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, so we've
thank you.
gotten through a majority of our regular agenda, thank goodness. Some growing pains here today. We'll move on then to C, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports. And I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just a handful of items. Holiday season is impinged on the flow of work for a number of the organizations, I guess. So just a handful of items. Justin Miller did send me a note. He said the recycling has been kind of quiet over the holiday rather. But he wanted to pass along some of the e-recycling data. And he said for the year-end, total numbers collected at the recycling center was 266,636 pounds, I'm presuming, yeah, total poundage, 266,636. We had 3,433 customers through the year, some repeats, of course. He made a particular note that they're seeing the changeover now in terms of the waste flow, that it's many fewer of the big CRT televisions and more of the flat TVs. So the total weight's trending down. I think those two factors are probably correlated, but we confirm that up. But of course, the new TVs are much later. So, and of course, our financial system is based on weight. So we'll probably see a financial impact to that. Sorry, is there something? No, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
So that's fine. How about, why don't we circle back around and take care of Mr. Radovich so he can get back to his busy day. And we'll address the item that was 5A4 on the regular agenda regarding the forensic lab. So Eric, you have the floor.
Good morning, commissioners, and I apologize. I did not have this on my calendar. I don't know how I must have messed this up. So my apologies. I was on another call. The grant the paperwork before you is a consolidated contract for maintenance on laboratory instrumentation with thermal electron, and the dollar figure is $47,328.73. And this is a consolidated contract. We used to have individual contracts on instrumentation. We did manage to combine them and did receive a small discount by combining contracts.
Any questions for Eric?
Okay, that's everything Eric has. Then we need a motion for the approval of that.
So I will move to approve the contract set forth on the regular agenda, 5A4. This is with the District Attorney Forensic Lab with Thermos Electron North America LLC for a continuation of a maintenance contract.
Second. Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further questions? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. There's none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Radovich.
Thank you. And again, I apologize. Thank you.
That's quite all right. Okay, we'll move along back to our liaison reports. So I just finished talking about the recycling center. So that's we'll be hearing more about this issue regarding the weight and how that translates into the finances of the organization going forward. I know these guys are actively working on that. Sue Carmel sent me an update for my request regarding IDD, and she wanted to pass along about Vista Services, which is an autism provider located in Hershey. They've installed a new adult daycare center beginning yesterday at the old Good Shepherd School in Camp Hill. And that center is aimed at serving individuals who are diagnosed with autism, gives them a meaningful day and the ability to increase independence, confidence, overall quality of life. The focus is skills development and growth. Participants in the program will spend at least 50% of the day integrated into the community rather than just in the licensed facility. Their program goals include expanding community safety skills, developing natural supports in the community, increasing the ability to access resources in the community, and increasing vocational skills. There have been 16 people referred so far. All of those are from Cumberland County, not Perry, probably proximity based on anything, but that certainly is a service that we know there's been need for. Our case numbers have been driven a lot by the increased diagnosis of autism and rapidly changing standards at the state level on serving autism clients as well. So that's certainly good news on the IDD side, something we'll be paying attention to and reporting on in the future. Annie Strait sent me on the mental health side of the regional crisis walk in a walk-in center grant. It was approved with Dauphin County. That purpose, of course, we've discussed before, is to have the local crisis intervention services aligned with the best practice guidelines. The first meeting is Friday, January 6th, and they'll be discussing regional project development committee and the request for proposal development. So that award, as a reminder, was $10.7 million in the region. So good news there as well in a field that doesn't always get a lot of good news. The only other thing I have is I checked in with Janet over at Cumberland Area Economic Development Corporation. They've been kind of trending low on the visibility stuff because of the holidays, and of course, their focus right now is on the business outreach. A lot of that was muted by the holiday season and inability of the target businesses to really participate. And she's also working on a recognition for some of our local sports teams that are involved in national championships. We'll be hearing more about that in the near future. So that's everything I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
Well, good morning, everyone. So the library board did not meet in December, but I will start out reminding you to use the Cumberland County Library System, whether it's online or in person. It's just such a terrific service. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I think that the meetings I think that the last commissioners meeting, this happened the day after. Senator Casey visited New Cumberland on December 9th. He met with Valerie Copenhaver and Don Kibler and New Cumberland Borough Manager. He did a really nice tour of some local businesses. You know, this is the second time Senator Casey has been in Cumberland County in 4 months. So it's nice to see that we have federal representation that is really digging in, getting to know constituents, getting to know our businesses, getting to know our municipalities and the good work that they're doing. December 15th, the Planning Commission met. And they approved the Camp Hill Borough new zoning ordinance, subject to some staff comments. They went ahead and recommended the Lower Mifflin Township 7-year ag security area review. And there was a conversation about ag security reviews, and that, you know, they happen every 7 years. It's easy to miss them, and that they are a municipal responsibility. They filled the board vacancy with Fred Reddig from South Middleton Township. You know, Fred worked for DCED for many, many years. He's an excellent addition to that board as Brenda Landis went off the board. The other thing about Fred being on the board is that it really and truly helps to enhance the representation of the western part of the county. So that's such a good thing. So glad to see that he's there, and sad to see Brenda go. Both really great individuals. There was a discussion about a need for better transit options in Cumberland County and in the region. CERTA is letting us know that there are not enough drivers and that there will be permanent service reductions. So riders are now at 51% of pre-COVID levels. So the Planning Commission is going to put a call out to CERTA. They'd like to, you know, have them come to the board, have a conversation about what is going on. Kirk gave his planning program report, and as we know from what just happened here in the meeting, we received a $30,000 DCED grant to update the comp plan in 2023. Stephanie is working on updating the land partnerships plan. The board had a conversation about how CADIC is CADIC's economic development plan is the county's economic development plan, and a focus a bit on housing and affordable housing. And they talked about Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority and their focus on really what is achievable and realistic. Reminder that the Broadband Authority is working with the FCC. There's a quick conversation about Chapter 105 permits, which are about waterway obstructions. One of the board members would like to see the Conservation District manage those. And then there was some back and forth about how DEP took that back over, but they're going to take a good look at that. And then the board thanked our planning staff for the heavy lifting and their responsive work, which is always very nice when that happens. As of November 2022 in Cumberland County, there were 44 year to date, yes, 44 MPC reviews. Subdivision and land development plan activity as of November 2022. Year to date, there were 160 plans reviewed. We have county plan review final status. So from 1/1/2022 to 11/30/2022, the plans included 1,238 new lots in the county. December 16th, Harrisburg Area Transportation Study met. Brenda Watson will be replacing Gary Eby from Perry County on the board. TASA funds are going to, in Cumberland County, the Cumberland Valley Rail Trail in Shippensburg Borough. There's a Quarry Road sidewalk improvement project and streetscape improvements in Lemoyne. Sesquicycle has, wintered their bikes, but there are plans to expand this system. There are currently 55 people in the Sesquicycle system, and they will expand to 16 total stations, and they really are looking to expand into other municipalities, not only in Dauphin County, but in Cumberland County. The Regional Congestion Management Plan is underway, and York and Lancaster MPOs have expressed interest in joining. So there could be one regional planning congestion MPO for this area. They are using a range of real-time data to ID and monitor congestion, and this could be the first multi-MPO CMP in PA. So that's the congestion management plan. I just kind of love the way that was phrased. Let's see, the local bridge program. So there was conversation about the TIP and the financing of local bridges. And right now we work on an 80-15 split, 80-15-5 split. And it has been recommended that we will continue to work on an 80-15-5 split. So, you know, there was a conversation, did HATS want to go with 100% federal funding available through the infrastructure bill, or the more traditional 80% federal, 15% state, and 5% local? And so we're going with that 80-15-5 split. It gives counties and municipalities some more control over what is happening with local bridges, and really and truly will allow the county, you know, to work with our municipalities on their local bridges. I think that's a really great continuation of that program. I-81 improvement strategy, where they are working on the establishment of the auxiliary lanes in Carlisle. The design contract has already been awarded by District 8. The South Bridge, the environmental clearances should be in here during January. It will be interesting to see which way that goes. A reminder to everyone, Federal Highway, the 2023 race grant applications are available. Norfolk Southern is looking at this Logan Branch connection in Lemoyne, and they are advancing engineering on that connection. And when they get to completion of the engineering, they will come to HATS. So HATS is considering a letter to Norfolk, setting forth a list of issues. You know, Toby Fowler sits on this committee with me, and he talked about his time in the Rendell administration and how there were some issues there that really and truly need to be discussed with PennDOT. And that is the end of my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fauci.
Gene, when, you might have mentioned it, when is construction actually going to start for these Carlisle exits?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure I could figure it out.
It sounds like it's going to be pretty close or
yeah.
soon.
It seems like it will be soon, but especially when the engineering contract has already been awarded. So, you know, soon as. How do you, I mean, I don't know how you predict soon when you're doing engineering and.
Since 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find out though for you then.
Sorry.
Okay.
I get asked that.
I do have one question. You have, so Kirk is saying that service at the South Central Regional Transit Authority is looking at service cuts. So
is HATS. They both said that.
Okay. We pay them, if this is for the transit services, we pay a 6-figure subsidy every year for that. So if there's going to be significant service reductions, we probably need to have a discussion with Kirk regarding what's the proper appropriation going forward, whether that gets adjusted appropriately as well, or, you know, what factors are involved there. So I would hope we do that sooner rather than later.
So do we want to just go ahead based upon Commissioner Eichelberger's recommendation here and set that up with Kirk to have a conversation with him?
Well, it's funny you actually mentioned that, because I just received an email the other day from Rich Farr with the proposed local match. And on my task of things to do today was to reach out to Kirk, and because he received it as well, to discuss that and bring forward discussion with the board. So.
Yes. And sort of, you know, as I said, sort of we'll also be coming to the Planning Commission to have, you know, hopefully a conversation with them about what that means to the area.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
Yeah, I have 3 updates. First one is for housing and redevelopment, just some financial highlights. They are a little under budget due to salaries, payroll taxes, and retirement. The public family and public senior housing earnings statements show that the authority is currently over budget for dwelling rental due to high occupancy. The authority sent out an RFP for legal services, and that was awarded to Barrick Shearer LLC. The authority also signed the administrative agreement regarding the emergency rental assistance program and with the with us, Cumberland County. And they have changed medical insurance carriers effective 1/1 of this year from Capital, Blue Cross to Cigna due to a very high renewal increase. I believe it was like 39%. The USI organization was involved with them and helped change. Concordia remains their dental carrier and Capital Blue Cross remains their carrier for vision. Conservation District, we just at the end of December received new floodplain maps from FEMA, which always causes a lot of confusion for our townships. Our townships, municipalities have 6 months to adopt or question these plans. The Conservation Excellence Grant budget was approved for this current year of $300,000. A grant application for the Excellent Grant Program was granted for Michael Sunday, Silver Spring Township for $1,600 for a conservation plan revision for a 700-acre farm. The 11th annual corn planter clinic was held December 14th and had a very good turnout. And Conservation District Board also approved granting district associate members mileage reimbursement for those who attend district board meetings. This funding to cover these expenses is taken from the state admin funds under the Conservation District Fund Allocation Program. The Ag Board met as well, and Corey Carruthers, as we just did today, we approved him as the to fill a vacated spot by Diane Stamey, who is now retired. Corey is the owner of Carwood Farm in Boiling Springs. We have 4 farms from 2021 waiting for federal funds to settle, looking at probably second quarter of 2023 for this to occur. The 2022 farms, 11 offers were made, 7 have been accepted. The inspection report for 2022 indicates that 92% of all of our preserved farms are in compliance. 7% needed either a deed correction or a conservation plan update, and less than 1%, which is one farm, was cited with a major violation, and that is being addressed. And that is all I have.
Thank you. All right. Okay, that takes us to D, which is report of executive sessions, which were held on January 3, 2023 at 1 p.m. and January 4, 2023 at 9:30 a.m., both regarding personnel. Is there any other business to come before the?
I just have 1 or 2 items. Oh, since the flood maps were mentioned, that historically has been a real hot button issue for the municipalities.
Yeah.
Since you're going to be speaking to Kirk, could we ask him whether the maps, to his knowledge, constitute a significant change that we may want to bring this to municipal advisory board?
Certainly.
It won't be what it was last time, so that would be good to have. The only other item is a result of the conversation earlier on contracts. Not a reflection against you, Melissa, but there's a very it was a good conversation that we probably should have, or at least discuss whether we want to seek or provide guidance to departments in terms of multi-year contracts, because all our mindset toward these has been based on the stable low inflation environment that we had for years, where the long-term contract works in our favor. And that's not necessarily the case now. Of course, we don't know what inflation is going to be, but rather than simply lock in high rate contracts as providers try to put them on us, do we want to perhaps have a conversation about different guidance to departments, perhaps asking them specifically to ask for 2-year timeframes, or at least various options, a menu of options, so we can cost those out based on hypothetical inflation rates. It's fairly easy to do. It would tell us whether we're paying a lot more, or we can protect ourselves in some manner from rising inflation and protect ourselves in the case it subsides, and then we're not locked into high rates.
I think it makes sense to have a conversation to start off with at a department head meeting. I think there are a lot of variables there. That I think that if we can get those variables listed, I think then any guidance that we provide would be all encompassing. It would be very helpful.
And follow up on that, Keith, I'll ask you, and again, Melissa, I'll use the contract, it's a 3-year contract, 4% increase per year. Is there anything in those contracts, or could there be anything in those contracts that say an inflation rate based on whatever is less than 4%? That's what the fee will be, or the increase.
I'm not aware of those types of provisions. I'm aware of the opposite.
Right.
That they can increase fees, and I'm talking strictly in generalities.
Yeah.
That they can increase those fees under certain circumstances.
Right. That's all.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board today? Hearing none, we are